Hi, this is me again, Mr. J, the one and only MGTOW the Joker, back again with another video. Welcome again to another episode. You know, lately I've heard a lot of people talking shit out of their asses about you need to be a leader of men. You need to be a leader of men in order to get the girls. Apparently, they're promoting that idea, which is a good idea based on the female hypergamy. But some of them have no idea what they're talking about. They even, talk smack about military leaders. And, when they do that, I kind of frown upon that. Like monkeys talking shit about lions. And today, I figure that we're going to have a little conversation about leadership. I mean, since they had their chance about talking whatever the heck they want because it's a free country. Well, it's my turn to actually tell in the lion's mouth what it is to be a leader of men in the military way. But before that, remember to follow me on Twitter, Reddit, and Instagram. And now, without further ado, let's get this video started.
You can play that game. Because you are a joke. You're a joker.
First of all, let me tell you something. It is true. You have to be a leader of men in order for you to be a high suitable male, a male of value, like some people say. In order for you to be a male of value, you need to be, leadership. It's one of the things that you should know. Now, what is leadership? Well, let me tell you. A leader is someone that can be able to apply principles to circumstances. And oh, by the way, that picture that is there is not Donald Trump. That picture is about a 3-star general. His name is John J. Patton, one of the most fierce military leaders in World War II against the Germans. So with that said, what is leadership? Well, let me tell you. According to Field Manual 6-22 in the military, leadership is a process of influencing others by providing purpose, direction, and motivation while operating to accomplish the mission and improving the organization. That's what leadership is all about. Now, this is an updated version to what the FM 22-100 used to be, because when I learned it in a way that it is a process of influencing others by providing purpose, direction, and motivation to accomplish a mission. But apparently they added that improving the organization part. So, what is an army leader? An army leader is anyone who, by virtue of assumed role or assigned responsibility, inspires and influences people to accomplish organizational goals or goals within the group. Army leaders motivate people both inside and outside of the chain of command. So there's a structure. to pursue actions, focus thinking, and shape decisions for the greater good of the organization. It's for the greater good. Now, there are a lot of leadership styles. Some of them are good, some of them are not so good, and some of them are much better. But it depends on the flavor of leaders. But every leader has to know that an enduring expression of the military leadership, it's the be, know, and do. Army leadership begins with what the leader must be. So you have to act as if. You gotta have that attitude in you. You're gonna have to act as if you are a leader. The values and attributes that shapes character. It may be helpful to think that these as internal and defining qualities possessed all the time. So you don't act as if you are a leader in front of your troops. You act as if you're leaders 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You act as if. That's the attitude that you have to maintain at all time. And it says that as defined qualities, they make up the identity of a leader. Now, values and attributes are the same for all leaders, regardless of position, although refined through experience and assumptions of position of greater responsibility. For example, a sergeant major, which I don't think you guys would know that, or these guys would know that since they have never been in the military, with combat experience may have a deeper understanding of selfless service and personal courage than a new recruit. The knowledge that leaders should use in leadership is what soldiers and army civilians know. Leadership requires knowing about tactics, technical system, organizations, management of resources, and the tendencies and needs of people. So leaders are required to have a general idea of how this organization works, how their system works, and be able to make some suitable changes in order for them to improve that organization. It also says that knowledge shapes a leader identity and reinforces a leader's action. So the more you know about the organization, the more you know about your people, their character, the personalities and stuff like that, the better you can be able to influence these people to accomplish organizational goals. While character and knowledge are necessary by themselves, they are not enough. So character and knowledge, they're necessary by themselves, but they're not enough. Why? Because you have to apply what you know. It says that leaders cannot be effective until they apply what they know. What leaders do or leaders' action is directly related to the influence they have on others and what is done. As with knowledge, leaders will learn more about leadership as they serve in different positions. So what happens is that a leader is not a title. They have different positions within the organization that you can serve, but it's an attribute that you must carry it all the time. Okay? New challenges facing leaders. The Army and the nation mandates adjustment in how the Army educates, train, and develop its military and civilian leadership. It also says that the Army's mission is to fight and win the nation's war by providing prompt, sustained land dominance across the spectrum of conflicts in support of combat commanders. So one of the things that I heard was that, it's not that leadership is not transferable. Well, if you know how system works and if you know how an organization should work and learn upon that, you can actually do any type of work from within the organization, because that's what leaders is all about. They dedicate themselves to improve their organization as well as to make sure that whoever's following, they meet the organization standard. Anyway, this is an old definition, an old slideshow about what leadership is, and the some of the training that you receive in when you go and you're training as a leader in the ROTC, the Recruit Officer Training Corps. As you can see, that's the definition, and that's what a leader must do. So if you want to be a leader, what I suggest you to do is to take that definition, find what it means is, to start behaving like one. And the more you learn about what leadership is all about, the more you're going to start behaving in such a way. The more you put into your mind of a subject, it shapes you, and you gotta it comes naturally. It comes naturally because the more you read upon it, you take it into it, and then you start shaping your behavior through communication, and you start behaving in that way, and you start talking about it, especially when you like what you're doing. Because being a leader is really good. However, it has its benefits, and they're very, very good benefits. But as well, you have to be able to understand that you're going to have your own consequences as well. This is another post that I found on study.com that says that the making of a leader, an army leader, is someone who has taken the responsibility of the leadership role and uses it to inspire and influence those who follow him or her. To accomplish the goal of the U.S. Army, the leader describes below a prime example of a great Army leader. So the U.S. Army General Stanley McChrystal was a 4-star general deployed to Afghanistan. His goal was to create the best plan possible that would result in the best strategy for attack. In order for this to have occurred, he realized that he couldn't do it alone. He created a team that he could trust and that could trust him in return. So, as you can see, in order for you to be a leader, you have to be around people that you can trust and they can trust you in return. Totally different than what these people are portraying to be. Now, this is another example explaining the be, know, and do of leadership. It says one important expression of the Army leadership is the be, know, and do. Army leadership begins with what the leaders must be, the values and attributes that shapes character. A leader can think of these as internal and defining qualities possessed all the time. As defining qualities, they make up the identity of the leader. Values and attributes are the same for all leaders, regardless of the position, although redefined through experience and assumptions of positions of greater responsibility. That's basically what the be, know, and do is. Now, let's talk about purpose. So one important aspect of being a leader of men is that you also have to understand what purpose and direction is all about. And here it is. Purpose is simply put is the why. Why are we doing what we're doing? It is the basic question that has propelled humanity for eons. It is rooted in the limbic brain as an emotional response and manifested within the neocortex as though it literally is a thought wrapped with emotion. Is a thought wrapped with emotion. That is what purpose is. Without it, it says, no one is invested in the mission. Without it, there's no reason to do anything. And it provides the drive, the want to perform. When people are frequently invested, they want a return. When people are emotionally invested, they want to contribute. So when people, not frequently, is financially. When people are financially invested, they want a return. But when people are emotionally invested, they want to contribute. That's what Simon Sinek says. And I'm sorry, I forgot to know who the heck is Simon Sinek, but it really makes a very good sense of it. When people are financially invested, it is logical that they want to return, but when they are emotionally invested, they want to contribute. You got to take that point out, because most of the females are more emotionally invested than the males. The males tend to be more financially invested in it. You may not be able to explain why all the time because of, and that is referring to a leader when they want to contribute. You know, you may not be able to explain why all the time because of numerous reasons, but it is essential that you come back to the why and explain it. So the idea as a leader is to, if you want someone to be invested in you, you got to make sure that it's more emotionally invested than financially invested, because they're going to want a return. It also said that a good leader shares information, even if they don't know the whole story. Without any information, people create their own, which causes fear and paranoia. As a leader, purpose also gives also a chance to inspire. Do not miss that opportunity. Purpose is the cornerstone of good leadership. Always prove it. Let's see what they say about direction. So direction is the how and what. It details what expected of a team member. It also details which leadership style to use. Now, there are 3 leadership styles. There are main 3 characters, but there are other leadership styles that derive from these main ones. The first leadership style is the direct. The second one is participating. And the last one is delegating. So a direct leadership style is when a leader reserves all power and details exactly how to perform the task. It is to use when the team member is immature. Time is short, and when the task is urgently needed to be completed, it offers the least in terms of personal growth for the team member. Now, that is the direct style of leadership. Now, participating style of leadership is when a leader shares power with the team member, working collaboratively to develop a plan of action to accomplish a task, and it used when time permits and team members are receptive to learn. It involves mentoring and provides an opportunity to teach. Use the art of the question to guide the followers to how you want the task to be performed. What do you think about this, or what do you think is the best action to take? So those are the type of questions, open-ended questions, that you should use in order for you to accomplish the mission or to accomplish the goal in the most effective type of manner. Now, delegating involves letting the team member comes to his own conclusion on how to accomplish the task, wherein the leader gives up almost all the power. It is used when the team member is mature and expert, or when the task Wait a minute. Okay. Delegating involves Delegating involves letting the team member come to his own conclusion and how to accomplish the task, wherein in a leader gives almost all the power. It is used when the team member is mature and expect, or when the task is trivial. It builds confidence and trust. When using this style, trust, but verify and remember to check to see if the work was completed. So that's delegation is sort of like supervision, and make sure that you give somebody a task and you let it come up with the best possible solution or the best idea, but then again you make sure that your expectations are met when they perform the task. Now let's look at the other part of leadership when they talk about motivation. It says that it is the incentive to accomplish the mission, both good or bad. It is the proper use of the carrot or the stick. I highly caution you the use of the stick, because yes, using the stick can bring resentment, and it is in a type of leadership style. Overuse and everything everything to the extreme, it's bad. So you have to be able to use a balance. It says that overuse of discipline breeds resentment and distrust, effectively undermine the leader's ability to inspire and render quality workmanship. It also loses its effectiveness. So the more you use the stick, or the more you use the carrot to the extreme, or to the extent, to the extreme extent, you're gonna be losing its effectiveness. Okay, so we talk about the purpose, we talk about the direction, and we talk about motivation in leadership. Now we're going to talk about the derivatives of leadership, of the three leadership styles. The derivative of the three leadership styles are authoritarian leadership style, democratic leadership style. You see the authoritarian, directive. Democratic leadership style, that's participating. And then you got the laissez-faire leadership style, delegating. And then last but not least, you got the dynamic leadership style. So that involves a combination of all the three leadership styles. You see? Now, so that is basically the derivatives of it. So in the democratic leadership style, this is also known as, no, wait a minute, sorry. The authoritarian leadership style, let me start from the beginning. Leaders are distant from their employees. This type of leadership is gained through demand, punishment, regulations, rules, and order. The major functions of authoritarian leadership styles includes assignments or of tasks, unilateral decisions and rules making, and problem solving, and things like that. Followers of authoritarian leaders must adhere to all the instructions without comment or questions. If you find yourself that you're following someone and he's not very open to your questions, you know that you're following an authoritarian leader. Now, democratic leadership style. This is also known as participant leadership style, and that reflects principles in the process such as self-determination and equal participation. How democratic leadership must not be compared with those who hold elected position. These leaders facilitate collective decision making involving their followers or employers and offering them support and choice. Further, this leadership style, unlike the authoritarian style, is characterized by cooperation, active participation, accountability, and delegation of responsibilities and tasks. A major function of a democratic leadership is the empowerment of the subordinate, distribution of leadership, and facilitating a group deliberation. One thing good about the democratic leadership style is that you can, as a leader, you can get to know how good your subordinates perform individually, and based upon that, a strategy that I used to do was to get your subordinates to work on things that they like. If you be able to get all your subordinates, and you realize through observation that your subordinates are good at some task individually, well, that's how you place them up. That's a strategy that I use, because if you do not do that, then you run the risk to put your morale down, because now you're putting someone into doing something that they don't like. So, like laissez-faire leadership style. In this leadership style, leaders are not involved. That's delegation with their subordinates and followers. This style is characterized by the absence of leadership. Laissez-faire leaders do not make group association decisions and policies. Not sort of like a coach of a company. Well, he put up an idea and say, well, you guys need to do this, that, and the other thing in order for your company or your organization to make better. But he leave it like that, and then the subordinates take note and come up with their own solutions and their own responsibilities to their problems to make the organization better. So it's sort of like a coaching type of leadership. This leadership style is suitable for organizations that have long-term employees. It is, however, not suitable for environments that require direction, quick feedback, and price. Here are some of the disadvantages from the laissez-faire leadership. It says that the disadvantage of this style includes lack of awareness, as it leads to poorly defined work roles, obviously because you're a coach, and leaders provide minimal guidance, due to which the group members are often not sure of their job roles and responsibilities. Yeah, because there you are, you're letting the people that are listening to you come up with the ideas. Last but not least, is the dynamic leadership style is the combination of all of them. It says that it's a dual focus form of leadership style that is adaptive in nature. This leadership style changes and reacts in different situations. The theory of the dynamic leadership holds that the leaders should use a fluid style of leadership. to adjust according to the team that is being led. Dynamic leadership helps improve team motivation, as dynamic leaders are characterized by effective action, focus, energy, and benevolent compassion. So that is what pretty much what the dynamic leadership style is. I'm gonna put a link of all these in my description so you can read upon that. So let's get going. So here's an article that I found about emotional intelligence. It's written by Lieutenant Colonel Gerald F. Sowett, U.S. Army retired general. He was like nitpicking what Army leadership is defined. And he found something very important that you guys want to know. You guys should know, whoever wants to be a leader of men, is that you have to pay attention to your emotions. And this is how they put this is how he puts it. It says Army leadership is more than X's and O's or emotional structure, leaders development programs, or leadership study and analysis and coercive motivation. According to the Army Leadership Doctrinal Manual, Field Manual FM 6-22, Army leadership is the process of influencing others by providing purpose, direction. Hey, I'm memorized. I got this thing memorized 20 years ago. Providing purpose, direction, and motivation to accomplish a mission and improve its organization. Now, here's the part where it says, what is missing? What is missing from the definition and manual, as is a holistic emphasis on the emotional side of leadership, not in the same that of the hyper excited leader banging on the desk or screaming at new recruits, or the much taboo, touchy-feely leader, but leaders are aware of their own emotions and how they affect those around them as they undertake the daily mission and task assigned them. According to psychologist and author Daniel Goleman, to be successful, a leader must exercise and be aware of his emotions and how his emotional competence influence the way he leads and impacts his followers. So not only you have to understand what leadership is all about, you also have to be aware of your emotional state and how does that impact. That's how you become a charismatic leader or a dictatorial leader or something like that. Now, I like to actually be talking about the one of the leadership style that is dictatorship. Because you gotta be, you really gotta be aware of leaders that are they call themselves leaders. It is a type of leadership, but it is the most negative type of leadership that you can exude in your organization. And I'm going to tell you why. A dictatorship is a form of government characterized by the absolute ruler of one person or a very small group of people who hold all the political power, while a dictatorship is a form of government. In some nations, just as monarchy or representative democracy is the form of the government in others. Dictatorships are seen by non-dictatorship. I am a non-dictatorship type of guy. as dangerous and cruel because of the way they tend to treat their citizens or their subordinates. You won't find a dictator who calls himself a dictator. So you're never going to find a dictator telling him, I am a dictator. Instead, dictators have ordinary titles, such as president, emperors, great leaders, similar monarchies. That's because dictator is a projected term assigned to certain rulers by other nations, particularly the developed nations of the West. To be considered a dictatorship means, or a dictator means that a country is known to be run by one person without any checks and balances of his power. So when you follow a leader and you're a follower, you have to understand that if this leader is not open to your questions, it's not open to your way of if not open to your questions, it's not open to your ideas or things like that. They reject your ideas and things like that. You gotta be careful, because then you're gonna be dealing with a dictator instead of dealing with a leader. And that is the difference between a leader and a dictator, because dictators are persons that they execute directions and they execute orders without checks and balances in his power. He do what the hell he wants to do without no responsibility. So if you see out there someone telling you, you gotta be a leader, and then all of a sudden he turns around and tell you, well, forget about responsibility, guess what? You're dealing with a dictator. You don't want to be responsible for your for the actions that he made. He wants the benefit. Last but not least, we're gonna be talking about bureaucracy. Bureaucracy is used in leadership. And the term bureaucracy is a French term. It's combined. It's a combined French word between. It's a combined French word. It combines with a Greek word as well. So let me tell you. So the part that said bureau in French means desk or office. And this word is combined with a Greek language of the word kratos. It means ruler or political power. So it really doesn't matter the intentions, because bureaucracy is just a way to control the information, and it really doesn't depend on the leader's intention. It really doesn't have to do with the leader's intentions or the leader motivations. Let's say you can have, let's say for example, let's talk a little bit about politics here. You can have a Republican on office. You're gonna have the same bureaucracy that if you have a Democrat, because it's a way to restrain information going back and forth, because it's too much information. You're one against many. So that's what bureaucracy is all about, and I don't like it. When I was in the military, I didn't like the bureaucracy in the military, because it takes time. You know, my information that I wanted to share up in the channel, it takes it sometimes it didn't went through, because you had to go through procedures, and you had to go and submit paperwork and things like that, and it's a pain in the ass. Yes, I understand that. Bureaucracy, it's really it's a way to restrain information, so that the leader, whoever is in command, can see the information and say, okay, this, I want that to happen, or no, not that one to happen. So that's what bureaucracy is all about. So anyway, in this video, we talk about what leadership is all about. Also, we talk about what entails to be a leader. We talk about what in the be, know, and do concept of leadership. You know that, the be is that you have to act as if, and then the know is you take that information and you drill it into your mind until you start behaving, and that's the do part. We also talk about the different type of leadership and its derivatives. We also prevent you guys about the leadership style of a dictator, and we also talk about what bureaucracy is. Now, let me know in the comments below, what do you think about this subject, and I'd like to know your opinion about it. If you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button, click subscribe, and the notification bell for more content like this. I thank you, and I will see you in the next one. This is Mr. J signing out. Bye.
You can play that game.
Because you are a joke. You're a joker.